Happy New Year and welcome to episode number 99 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast. We're recording on January the 3rd, 2020. My name's Eric. I'm the host of the show based in Southern Ontario. I'm a hunter, target shooter, ham radio operator, and computer geek. As a first responder, I witnessed an over-reliance on emergency services during major events, and I started a small preparedness company to help people get prepared for at least 72 hours, if not longer.
I'm Alan. I'm a safety trainer, first responder, security expert, and overall safety nerd.
So I want to help support the show and keep the Canadian Prepper Podcast on the air. You can buy some swag. We've got the Canadian Prepper Podcast t-shirt and the tactical Velcro patch at prepperpodcast.ca. All proceeds help keep the lights on and the backup generator fueled.
And they are very snappy.
They are snappy and tactical.
Tactical. Yeah. If you are enjoying the show, please take a few minutes, like us on Facebook, and submit a review on iTunes. We also want your feedback, good or bad, or even just if you want us to cover a topic. You can email us, feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. And as a special note, our 100th episode chat with the hosts. Join us live, cam not required, but you need some kind of microphone, otherwise we can't hear you. We'll post a link.
Signals won't work well.
We'll post a link to access the show chat about 5 minutes before showtime. This is next Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern. On the Facebook page, if you don't have Facebook, and an increasing number of us don't, email us at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. We'll send you the link, and we look forward to having as many of you on the show as we can. Get some live Q&A. You can ask us whatever you want. The burning questions like, how does Ian actually do all of those things and still have a job?
Why hasn't Hughes showed up for a couple episodes?
And where's that Tyler guy?
Yeah.
So we'd love to have as many of you on as we can. It's a milestone for us, 100th episode next Sunday. That is the 10th of January.
Yep.
There we go. That's how math works.
That's good math. Yep.
10th, I did not look at my calendar at all for that. The 10th of January, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come get us on the on the show. Join us on the show.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think
so.
So with that,
we'll just be drunk.
Well, yeah, exactly. Pour yourself a drink and hop on the chat with us, and we're gonna happily answer some questions and get some banter going back and forth, and hopefully have a fun evening of it. So
hopefully.
Yeah, well, with that, we've got some blacked out content for you in this episode. We're going to start off with some preparedness-related news articles. We'll let you know what we've done for our preparedness since the last episode. Then we're going to get into the main topic. We're going back to power outages and back to some basics in the preparedness world. So let's move into some news.
The greatest of the resets.
Absolutely.
Put a couple of articles about some recent blackouts. California had one Christmas Eve. They're a pretty regular thing out west there, especially as they have wildfires. A few more. All kinds of systems are affected. And what is happening more and more is that we're seeing rolling blackouts, especially during the summer when the demand for power is greater. That some areas are seeing rolling blackouts as opposed to unplanned outages. So that's a thing. Be aware of that.
Sure is. So I've got a couple of articles here. First one is, if you weren't paying attention in Ontario, the Ontario-wide lockdown for COVID-19 is now in effect. So depending on where it is you're located in the province, you're either a 28-day or a 14-day lockdown.
Yep. So
welcome to the gray zone, apparently is
it's a lockdown for everybody except the former finance minister who decided that It was a good idea to go vacation in St. Bart's.
Well, sounds appropriate.
I think so. Oh, the whole province is going down the tubes.
Yeah.
See you later, folks.
Yeah. So, well,
he's no longer the finance minister, and I think that's the best decision that Doug Ford could have made.
Yeah, I think it was a smart move. It wasn't a smart move to go, but you messed up, so take the heat, and it's what it is there.
Don't plan on getting reelected.
No. And another article here that asymptomatic spread of COVID may not actually be a thing.
No kidding.
Yeah, weird.
It's almost as if we've been saying that's been a thing from most medical experts since March.
But why would the media listen to that? That's not scary.
That's not scary at all. If you're not sick, you're not a threat.
Yeah, so, well, there you go. So, yeah, there's a couple more COVID-related articles that seem to have been dominating the news for quite a while now. So,
just for the record, other things do happen in the world.
It's true.
Still be cared right now.
Yeah, it's true.
Anyways.
Got to sell ads, right? So, but let's move into what we've done lately for preps. So for myself, this is actually one for last week's episode. I forgot to put it in, but learned how to do some basic soldering. So I actually built a keyboard. Nope, no soldering.
No soldering. Okay.
No marching, saluting, or anything like that. Nope.
Soldering. Gotcha.
Just soldering. Just figured out how to build my own keyboard. So that was fun. And it works. So even better. And then for this week, sold a few things on Facebook Marketplace because, again, we've moved back into the house. We're doing the whole declutter thing. So got a few things posted and a few things sold. So happy to get rid of it and not have to take it to the dump. Started doing my favorite thing ever of paintings. We got a bunch of doors that we didn't want the contractor to waste his time doing. I was capable of doing it. So I've been painting doors this week. It's been,
make sure you paint the tops and the bottoms as well. Otherwise, it doesn't seal in all directions and it warps.
Oh, good tip. Thanks. I guess I have to take all the doors down now and
take them all back down. Do it again.
Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Well, I'm out of here then.
Yep.
And just getting settled into the house and made some more contacts on HF. So between painting doors and waiting for them to dry, I was able to hop on the HF rig and just make a couple of just some local or local-ish, like in the United States, a couple of contacts there. So
cool.
Just working the ham radio a little bit because it's been neglected the last little while.
And it doesn't miss you?
Yeah,
it miss you as much as you miss it.
Yeah, well, it started out with a hug. It got a little electrifying, and so yeah.
I did nothing anywhere near as fascinating as that. Well, that's not true. I did some soldering. I did some electrical work at the last phase of my renovation. My home renovation started in August, mostly complete. So I'm waiting on a couple of materials being delivered tomorrow, and then I can put this phase to bed. Next up, we're going to be tearing down the garage as soon as the ground thaws. Fortunately, that got deprioritized this year, or last year now. I haven't actually written the date, so I haven't screwed it up. But that's going to be exciting when it's done. I'm going to have all kinds of new space and a lot of room for activities. Ordered some new ham radios from Rapid Survival. Looking forward to those coming in, hopefully sometime soon. So both family vehicles will have a primary / secondary means of communication, and especially if the cell towers quit. And we'll talk about our experiences in, when was that? 2003 was the big Ontario blackout, and I think you and I were both pretty deeply ingrained in that when it happened.
Yeah, that was an interesting time. Yeah.
It sure was. And one of the first things that we discovered was that cell towers didn't work. So that was a while ago, but that's that's a thing that we planned for. So
exactly.
Hopefully those will come in soon, and I can get those installed soonish. I've got a couple of courses coming up in the next couple of weeks, so I'm going to be busy traveling about the province. Not traveling about the province. I'm going to be going to specific courses and then coming back with all proper protocols in place. CSIS, please stop looking at me. And
you're already on a list. Don't worry about it.
I'm already on a list. I'm sure of it. And then I put up some new shelves in the basement. Got some new things organized. One of the disadvantages of tearing down my garage is I have to put all that stuff somewhere until the new garage is built. So we'll be doing that over the next couple of weeks, and then hopefully within the next 3 months I'll have a new structure up. It's very exciting.
Very nice. You're the new Ian for this week, I guess, eh?
I'm talking about a lot of things, but it really was. I mean, that was all told about 4 hours worth of work. So
fair enough.
Yep. But I make it sound good, and I think that's Ian's secret.
This is true. Yes, I think you're right. To answer Steve in the live chat there, the ham radio, my HF rig currently is not on battery or solar. I know, very non-prepperish of me, but I am in the works of getting it hooked up for my generator here. And my 2-meter rig and my little handheld is obviously battery powered, but my 2-meter rig, I've got one in the truck, so it could run theoretically if the power is out, as long as the truck's running. So
cool.
But shall we move into the main topic?
It's going to be it's more riveting. It's electrifying.
It is.
You know what we need right now? We need the grease lightning.
That would be good.
Where's our intern for this?
Yeah, no, right? Yeah.
So what happens when the power goes out?
Yeah.
First thing, can be short-term or long-term.
Yeah,
Short-term power outages happen all the time. They happen for 100 reasons. Usually they're localized. Usually it's something to do with the distribution system, especially as weather gets bad or demand gets high.
Yep.
Transformers overload, switches open, and the power goes out for a little bit.
Yep, it's pretty standard. I think we've all been through those before where, they're an hour or so at length, if that, and it's disruptive, obviously, but
we had one here in August or September. I can't remember exactly. Our power was out for 11 hours, and it was just long enough to be inconvenient, not long enough to panic about.
Yeah, when you get into those ones, it's like I said, it's a little disruptive, but it's not the end of the world. If you're looking at 11, 12 hours, you can make it through that, or you should be able to make it through that.
Yep.
If not, refer to the previous 98 episodes. But that's those short-term ones are pretty standard. They happen. It's usually some things happen, either weather related or an accident has taken down a pole or something's occurred, and it's it's the first step is to kind of figure out, is this going to be a short-term or a long-term power outage, and that some ways you can do that is just listening to your local media. Right? If it's
sometimes they are right.
Yeah, sometimes they are. Sometimes they're not. But throwing on your radio, whether it be FM or AM radio, or even your ham radio, a lot of the time, if it's going to be something a little bit more significant, there'll be a net set up in the area on usually like your 2 meter, where the local guys will start chatting about what's happening and what's going on and possible repair times, because some of them know people that work in the power industry and can get that information, and they broadcast it out.
A lot of utilities, I know where we're serviced by Hydro One, which services most of Ontario. They have an app, so they're an outage map. So on their website, you can see who's affected. You can see how long, and they'll give you an estimate, and that estimate is wildly inaccurate most times. I think that my last outage here, they said that we were due back on, that the power went out about 11 in the morning. They were due back on, they said it was due back by 3 in the afternoon, so we said no big deal. And then at 3 in the afternoon, they said 4 the next morning, and we said, they said 24 hours, which was a little strange. So we made other plans. We took we emptied our fridge and took it over to a neighboring town where we have friends that weren't affected. And so we were able to keep our perishables safe. And then like 4 o'clock in the morning, the power finally came back on. So the estimated times will update. They'll always say 24 hours first, and then they will update it. They know a little bit more, which is both good and bad. I'd say more bad than good, but it depends on what they see when they get there. So they'll always say 24 hours until they have a better idea of what's going on. So even if it says 24, just be aware that it's probably going to be less, and unless there's something that goes really, really wrong.
Yeah, I find that app to be quite useful as well, especially because I travel quite a bit for work, so I'm not always home. I'm sometimes gone for a couple of days to a week at a time. So having that app, even when I'm away, it still alerts me that the power is out at home. So if I need something to be looked after, or I need somebody to go check on something or do something, I can make those calls, or I can line that up, even though I'm not home. So it's quite helpful that way. And I found the exact same thing. The estimations of restoration are wildly inaccurate. They're either way overstated, and then you get the power back way sooner than they say, or like you indicated, it's they say it's going to be sooner and it's way later. So don't bank on those times, but it definitely gives you an idea as to how wide the problem is, and then you can kind of gauge from there, using your own mind, how long you figure it might take them to restore power.
Well, I mean, where I live in 2003, there was a cascade failure of the electrical grid. Covered most of the East Coast, most of Ontario, New York State, Virginia, all of New England. I forget exactly how far south it went. I think the Carolinas were affected as well.
I believe you're right. Yeah, it was a large area.
It was huge, and it all started because there was a heat wave, and there were so every air conditioner in the country was running, and there was a transformer that failed. I want to say it was in Philadelphia. Or Pittsburgh. I can't remember exactly where, but it was just like one city, and they had a transformer station go down, and so that surge drew from everywhere else, and it just overloaded the entire system. And there were some places, there were some places that were out for 12 hours. There were some places that were out for 4 days.
Yep.
And 4 days when you have windows that don't open and no air conditioning is a long time. So I know one of the problems that happened in London, and it's since been corrected, is that none of the ambulance bases, none of the fire halls, and none of the communication centers had air conditioning, and none of them had and they didn't have backup generators. So what I did as a first responder at that particular time is we had a mobile command center that ended up being set up on a city street downtown, and we had to move fire and EMS dispatch into this command trailer that was set up there for 3 days. And then we had light and power units literally going around to the infrastructure of the city, just charging batteries and stupid things like transit had to, like the Transit Commission had been called up to evacuate a number of old age homes, which was fine, except that they couldn't run the gas pumps. They couldn't run their fuel pumps.
That's a bit of an issue.
So we had to take a generator over to the Transit Commission and we had a lineman and an electrician following along with us to wire in these. Like none of the systems had been set up to be powered externally, so we had to go have their pumps physically disconnected, hardwired into our generators for long enough to charge a battery, run the pump that they needed to, and then disconnect it and take it onto the next. Take it onto the next place that needed it. But even if for some of the lower priority, like people who are on home oxygen, if you're on long-term oxygen, a lot of people have a generating unit as opposed to changing bottles all the time, which is great. And it usually has, a couple of hours of battery power, but not 4 days worth. So
yep.
we went around to a number of homes and just charged batteries. And make sure that people were still breathing okay, because that prevents emergencies rather than having to respond to them, which was good planning to at least have a basic list of who had that and be able to respond to it instead of having somebody wait until they couldn't breathe anymore and then call 911 and then it become a real problem.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too. Is not everybody would think of that as something to plan for or something to think about, because maybe you don't rely on oxygen, but maybe somebody that does. Have the chat with them and see if they have some kind of a plan if there's a further power outage than what their battery system will allot for. Yep. It's a smart thing to have, because you need oxygen.
Absolutely. Especially like whatever it is you rely on. I mean, if it's oxygen, if it's even with people who are diabetic and you have to keep your insulin cold, right? It has to be refrigerated.
Yep, it does.
I don't know if that's still the case. It's been a while since I've spoken with anybody that's insulin dependent, but that's another potential problem. Do you have a plan to deal with that? If you can't get ice to fill your coolers and all of a sudden you don't have power for a couple of days, do you have the ability to keep your medications that need to be refrigerated to cold? Yeah,
that's another big thing to kind of plan for. But even bringing it back to just the very beginning, first off, verify it's not just you.
Yep, absolutely.
Right? Are the streetlights on? Do your neighbors have power? If your neighbors don't and the streetlights are off, then chances are it's at least a localized outage. It might be further than that, but I'd say step number one is rule out that it's not just you. Because if it's just you and you're going into super prepper mode because your house is out but nobody else's is.
Yeah, just take a breath and be okay. Yep.
It'll be all right. Just check it out first.
Yep.
Make sure. There's no point in going through all your preps just because your power's out and nobody else's is.
But it doesn't mean I can't go through all my preps, right?
Well, feel free and then order more from me when you're done.
We'll call it an exercise and everything will be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And nothing wrong with testing your stuff out if you want.
Yeah,
put the breaker in your house and away you go. That's another one, is familiarize yourself with the electrical panel in your house if you haven't already. Know how to use it, and maybe something's just tripped or flipped or not sitting the way it should. So familiarize yourself with it.
Yep. And how to check, because I've done that first thing in the morning, not really paying attention, not quite awake, and I flip a light switch and it doesn't go, and I think to myself, the power's out. I wonder if it's my house, my street, my town, my province. And it turns out that it's a three-way switch, and the switch at the other end just wasn't flipped all the way.
So pour yourself a coffee and
pour yourself a coffee, shake the cobwebs, and start with the basics and work forward.
Exactly. Maybe add some Baileys to that coffee if you're so inclined. And then join us next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, if you are starting to plan out for power outages and you're putting some kind of a system together, I would say your priorities are going to be food, water, and then followed by heating, cooling, both your food and your habitat where you're living. I'd say those are going to be your priorities in planning, unless you got something else, Alan.
Well, no, and just depending on where you are, if you're on municipal water, the chances of your water supply going away are pretty slim. But if you're on a well, then you're going to need a backup system for that. Food, absolutely. I think we've got it somewhere in the notes that if it's cold outside, you can take advantage of that and store your food outside.
Yep.
Just be aware of animals, of course, but
yes,
having the ability to keep your house at least keep your pipes from freezing.
That's the key.
What's the rule if it's 8 degrees Celsius on the inside walls and the outside walls are approaching 0, and most of our pipes are on the outside walls. So keep your house at least warm enough. Have the ability to keep your house at least warm enough to keep your pipes from freezing. And if you can't, then drain your system. So turn off the water, open the pipes at the top, open your taps at the top, at the uppermost level, and open your taps at the bottommost level. It was something that has happened to me in the past, and it got cold. My first house was an old oil furnace, and we were having it replaced, and it was going to be replaced in about 4 weeks, and then we had a cold snap, and so we were just running the tank dry, and it ran drier faster than we thought it would, and we were a couple of days at minus 25 without any heat, and we had one fireplace in the basement, so that was just enough to keep us going, but it was enough to keep the house warm enough that it didn't freeze, but we weren't sure, so we turned off the water, cracked open all the pipes and all the taps. And if you're going to do that, I mean, you can even leave the water on and just crack them open instead of having them all the way open, so that you've got some flow. As long as you've got flow, you're not going to get ice until it gets really, really cold.
It's true. We've got a couple of good points in the live chat. So we've got Dan that mentions Twitter's a good place to get real-time updates way before it hits the news, from blackouts to killing sprees. So hopefully we don't ever have to deal with the killing spree part of it. But valid point.
Absolutely.
Social media can be anyways a good point, a good spot for some relevant, up-to-date kind of event.
Well, every reporter has a Twitter feed, and every one of them wants to be published first, but they only get so much airtime. So you get a lot of opinions really quickly, or a lot of sources really quickly.
And we've got another one here from Darius. That's a great point. Just says, don't wire your generator into your panel. If the power goes out, it can actually cause a feedback to the lines, and then you're potentially harming the linemen that are working on the lines. So, great point.
Yeah, if you're going to have a hardwired system, that's fine. Have it properly installed with a transfer switch, and isolate so you're isolating the house from the lines. And if not, then don't be that guy that does the double-ended plug and plugs it into the house, and you'll get one phase. And don't do that. Yeah, nobody likes that guy.
No, you can certainly get systems that will work, but make sure that they're put in, because you don't want to be frying someone down the line. It's just bad day for them, bad day for you, and bad day for everybody.
Yeah, and you don't get your power back that way.
No, you don't. Nope.
Right?
Nobody else is going to want to touch those
at the most selfish level.
Yep.
If you do that, you're not getting your power back, because there's nobody to work on your power anymore.
Yep.
There's nobody to work on the problem.
So what else we have here? So again, longer power outages. So we're getting into 3, 4, or 5 days plus. Hygiene and sanitation is going to start to become a thing. So make sure you have some sort of a plan for that. Reference our hygiene episode.
That was our first explicit episode, wasn't it?
It was our first explicit episode, and YouTube still to date lets us record here. So that's good. But yeah, definitely hygiene and sanitation is going to be something you're going to want to take care of. We've touched on medication, but again, like we said with the insulin, make sure you got a way to keep it cool. Other medications also going to have variables that you need to be aware of.
Well, and also if you're plan ahead, it's going to take a little bit longer to get what you need from your suppliers. If your pharmacy doesn't have power, chances are good they're not doing any transactions. So you might have to get it sent. They might have to get it sent from somewhere else in order to keep you happy and healthy. So make sure you're well stocked for that.
Yeah, we've even seen that with the whole COVID thing going on right now. Is stock is interesting at times for certain medications. So take what you've learned from this scenario with COVID going on, and continue to implement it if and when COVID is finished, which is hopefully sooner than later, and carry it on, because it could play into power outages.
Yep.
It's I think everybody by now will have some form of a radio in their emergency kit, whether it be FM, AM, combination of both.
If you're not, stop listening to this episode right now and go get one.
Yeah, exactly.
You can order one from rapidsurvival.ca.
Well, it's .com, but
whatever. you bought the wrong domain.
Okay, whoever wants to go register.ca, go for it.
Rapidsurvival.com.
Yeah,
go get it.
But yeah, like that's going to get you all of your local updates. It's going to let you know if something else major is going on. Hopefully, again, Twitter is a great option as well. It's probably going to be a lot faster than FM AM radio. But if it's been a little while, you're going to get the information there as well. Especially if you don't have a way to power your mobile devices, you can get crank radios and such to listen.
Yep.
And then we've got restoring your own power. So again, just safety first with that, and you don't want to zap yourself or the guy down the line, like we mentioned. But
so generators are probably the big one. Get the biggest generator you can that's practical. My generator that I got this year is about a 3500 peak, 3,000 running watts, 3500 peak, or surge, I guess is the rating. We've done an entire episode on generators, I believe.
I believe we have, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have. Go back and find that one. There's a lot to know about portable generators. There's a lot to know about stationary generators. You can have stationary generators that are tied to your natural gas lines, which is probably the best. I guess that's the ultimate FU to the grid.
I absolutely love mine. It literally, the power goes out, you count to 10, you hear the transfer switch flip over, then you hear it rev up, and then the lights come back on. It's great, and it's on the natural gas line.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When you're planning your power systems, make sure that you can power your sump pumps.
Yes.
Just one of those things that I can hear my sump pumps running now because it's been raining for the last couple of days. And make sure you can power your sump pumps. A battery backup is good. Those will only last for so long, especially in foul weather. Just be able to power those and plan for it. I mean, run a test on your generator. Make sure you can run all the stuff that you can that you need to. Right? You count the wattage of all the things that you want to power at the same time. Add it all up, and then make sure that your generator can run it. You don't have to run your generator. You don't have to run your fridge on your generator all the time. You just have to get it cold, and then you can unplug it for a while.
Yep. And speaking sump pumps, make sure if you're on a well system that your generator can run your pumps for your well. Yep. Because no power, no water.
Power, no water. Yep. That's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Solar is the next one that we have. I can speak to the benefit of solar. I got a foldable panel from Rapid Survival earlier this summer. When I took it up to Algonquin Park for a few days for a camping trip, and I was able to charge all of our devices during the day. So we had power for the evening, as well as charge my battery packs while we didn't have any electricity. So it was it's that one solar panel kept me in touch with everything that I needed, and we were in really good shape. So actually, I've got it right here. I can tell you exactly what it was. I'm sure you can too, Eric. But it was
the Solar 21 charger.
The Solar 21 charger. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Pop my camera on. Hopefully, I don't freeze the internet. That's what it looks like.
There it is, right there.
Does a great job. Phenomenal tool. Just do yourself a favor and keep a couple of extra cords in it so that you don't have to look for those when you go to power it up. Yep. I learned that one. Make sure you just keep some extra cords with it. But you can charge whatever you want from that during the day, and then if you charge your battery packs, then you can run your battery powered things at night, which is all. It's a fantastic system, and I mean we've done a whole episode on solar as well, and
We have,
even just the portable panels that run a trickle charger will keep you going to until the power comes back. If water is an issue, consider filling your bathtub. Get yourself a water bob from Rapid Survival. They just sit. It doesn't take up any space until it's time to deploy, and it'll give you, what is that, 500 liters or something in the.
It's 100 gallons.
100 gallons, so 380 some odd liters in
Something
the in your bathtub. It's clean. It's food grade. You don't have to worry about whatever soap residue or anything is in your bathtub. I don't care how clean you think your bathtub is. It's not clean enough to keep water drinking quality.
Yeah, it's got a little pump on the top too, so you can pump the water out of it.
And you can pump the water out, and then you've got lots of backup there.
Yeah. On a side note for the water bobs, it does say one-time use only. If you're smart about it and you dry it out appropriately, you can get alternate uses out of it. But it says one-time use only to avoid people putting it away wet, having mold build up in it, and then filling up again, and then contaminating your water. So just don't be folding it up wet and putting it away, and because it's just not going to
there's a joke in there for the 100th episode.
I'm not hitting the explicit button for this episode. Don't make me do it.
Nope.
We've got another live chat here. Scott just indicates for generator possibilities is his electrician recommended the GenerLink that attaches at the meter box. It's dual phase input and transfer switch without needing to rewire the whole house. So my understanding of those is it's just a little outlet on the power meter for your house, and you can plug your generator into that, and then it feeds your panel, but it also doesn't backfeed the grid. So I know a couple of buddies of mine have those, and they say they're great. So makes life a little bit easier.
Fantastic.
Plug it in, and away you go. You can run a few things on your generator and your little portable generator. So
that's a great idea.
They're handy.
Yeah. And
we've got Ken asks just what happens when the gas lines go dry. That's a great question.
Mad Max. What happens
when
the gas lines go dry?
It's definitely Mad Max time. It's something I'm going to start building into my my plans for power outages with the generator here. I'm looking at possibly putting in a bigger propane tank, maybe somewhere on the back of the property that can then feed the generator. So if sometime the natural gas goes down or runs dry, at least I've got that back up the roll to, and then it's really time to decide what we're going to do.
Life choices.
Yeah. So, but for now, I don't have a backup to it. But
it's an exceptionally rare occasion that the gas will go out.
Yeah.
Unless there's been a catastrophic event that damages your gas lines locally, it's a pretty rare occasion when that happens. And if it does, chances are good that there's already somebody coming to fix it before you're aware of it.
Yeah, but it is a good thing to plan for. It's a great point of always run that scenario. What if?
Sure.
And then plan for it, because no harm, right? I'm thinking the whole barbecue idea, or the whole propane idea is I can hook it up to my barbecue, and then I got a giant propane tank. I can run my barbecue off it, and then if I have to switch it over to the generator, if we do hit that holy geez moment where the natural gas lines run dry, then I can, and then it can start to reassess from there, and start letting the dogs out with the bees in their mouth and all that kind of fun stuff.
Release the hounds and the bees, and have the bees in their mouth, and when they bark, they shoot bees.
I had to get the Simpsons reference in there. Like you mentioned already, keep your USB battery packs charged up for communications. Assuming the cell phone system is still operating and it's not a major thing that's going on. Can't hurt to have those electronics powered and working. Because if you got them, use them, right?
Dan in the YouTube chat makes a really good point that there are USB AA and AAA battery chargers on the market as well. So he says that Kia sells them. There are lots of brands that sell those. And that's a great thing to have. So you can plug it into your either your power pack or your solar panel, whichever you need. I've started, because I'm lazy and I hate replacing batteries. I've started buying as many things as I can that have a built-in battery and a USB charger. So like all the headlamps that I buy are all USB charging ports now, because I'd rather not have to deal with changing batteries and just plug it in and not think about it anymore. And the prices of those are coming way down. I think the one that I have on my desk right now I got from sale. I think it was $12 or something for a headlamp, which is a great price.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's super bright, and it has red and white, and it's got 3 or 4 different levels, and the battery lasts for 3 or 4 nights if you need it, and then you just plug it in and charge it at whatever USB power source you have for 15 or 20 minutes, and then it's charged back up again. So,
and never underestimate the usefulness of a headlamp.
I've stopped buying standard flashlights. Yeah, I buy headlamps.
Absolutely amazing, especially the power outage.
Any place that I can use a flashlight, I can also use a headlamp.
Yep, 100%. I absolutely love them. But, I keep the odd flashlight here and there, but the headlamps.
Well, there's always one in my pocket.
Hands available, right?
Yep, absolutely. Candles.
Yep.
They do a couple of things. They provide light. They also provide heat.
They also provide the potential of burning your house down. So be careful.
And the added bonus of carbon monoxide.
Yeah.
So we've talked about carbon monoxide. I think I've beaten that to death.
I was waiting for you to go off on your tirade.
Go back and listen to our home heating episode, our alternate heating episode. I think I go off on about 4 or 5 different tangents on carbon monoxide.
Almost every other episode we've recorded.
Just about every episode. Carbon monoxide's a big deal, guys. It really is. Candles should not produce enough carbon dioxide or carbon monoxide to be a threat. But if you use enough of them in a small enough area, it can be a problem, and especially over a long period of time. And carbon monoxide poisoning is cumulative, so you need to give it time to dissipate out of your body. There, I managed to go on a rant anyways.
And it was only like a 32-second rant, so that's impressive.
There we go. That's I think my shortest rant so far.
I think it is. Did I mention carbon monoxide? Keep in mind as well with power outages, you can listen to back episodes of this podcast and Alan ranting about carbon monoxide poisoning. And also, businesses may not accept anything but cash. I know we've said that on a few other episodes as well, but keep that in mind.
Yep. Well, anytime communications are down, a lot of businesses will want to still operate. I worked at one place where we had a lot of charge accounts, we had a lot of commercial accounts, which was really handy, and we were without power for 7 hours of a business day due to a transformer changeover that the utility didn't bother to let anybody know about, and we were hand bombing orders, which was awesome when you've got 35,000 SKUs, and
wow, that's a lot of SKUs.
It's a lot of SKUs. So half of our building, like the back shop of our building, had power, and so for the first couple of hours we still had our network up because it was on a battery backup. So we were able to actually print an item list. We were able to print 2 copies so that we actually had them to go. And I was, that was the first time that I dug my headlamp out of my lunch bag. It's in my little pencil case EDC bag. Dug it out, and I was able to hand bomb orders while everybody else was trying to use the flashlights on their phone and write at the same time, which is really inconvenient. Sure. So the headlamp played a great was a great feature there, and then we were able to input all those orders after, so we could accept cash, or if you had an existing account, we could charge you. Otherwise, you weren't getting your product. In a disaster situation, right, like a natural disaster, that might mean that you can't get the plywood you need to board up your house. So keep some cash on hand just in case.
Yep. Up back to the top of our list of things here. Don't forget to report the outage.
But don't call 911.
Do not call 911 for it.
This is not a 911 emergency.
Unless there's absolutely some sort of emergency tied to it, like there's a car wrapped around the power pole.
If something's on fire, it's an emergency. If the power lines are down and they're running over a car, that is an emergency. Yeah. Call 911. If the power is out and there isn't like you look out your front window and there aren't power lines on the ground, please don't call 911.
There's no car wrapped around a power pole or something. Yeah, that's a simple call to your local utility to say, hey, I pay you folks. Why is my power out?
And most of them have that report an outage thing on their app or on their website. I would suggest trying to go through that first.
Yeah, absolutely. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to find it's already been reported, but there's going to be that one time where it hasn't been, and you're the first one to report it. So at least now you've got the wheels in motion, and somebody's coming to help restore it.
Yep, and you might just get a little nugget of information about what the cause was and how long. That can give you a clue as to how long it's going to be. So
exactly.
Report it, but don't call 911 unless there's something actually on fire or somebody is trapped. Then don't call 911.
Yeah.
Can I say that again? Don't call 911 to report a power outage.
I knew you'd go on another tirade.
They know about it. Trust me.
Yeah. This one was 39 seconds, a bit longer than the last one.
Cumulatively under 2 minutes. I think I'm still good.
I think you're still good. Yeah. It's still not nearly as long as Ian's what we've done lately for preps section. So we're good.
Well, I just noticed we're down to the end here, and we're only 40 minutes in. That's what happens when we don't have Ian on the show.
Yeah, I know, right? It's
between Ian and Hughes, we cut out 10 minutes of our intro.
Yeah, we did. It's pretty good. But, it's like power outages are like a staple for preppers, right? It's something that everybody kind of starts with if they're getting their packs together. There's always that "what if the power goes out" thing, and it's a basic thing to get prepared for. It's something you can just sit down and plan for one evening and get a kit together for. And we wanted to kind of revisit it for this episode and get back to some basics because why not?
It's the good stuff, and it's one of those things. It's the low hanging fruit of prepping. You can really easily prepare for this by making sure that your barbecue tank is full so that you can still cook your food.
Yep, exactly.
And by the way, your food will rot slower if it's cooked than if it's raw. So if you've got stuff, empty your fridge first. Your freezer will stay colder longer if it's full. Empty your fridge first, cook all the food, and then you have less to keep cool, and you have less potential to get sick from it. And if you do manage to get sick from it, make sure you've listened to our hygiene episode. And
yes,
that'll be an entirely different matter. But cook the stuff in your fridge first, cook the stuff in your freezer second, and then keep whatever you need to cool. As people in North America, we put a lot of stuff in our fridge and freezer that don't even need to be refrigerated necessarily. They need to be kept cool, not cold. So your fruits and vegetables, for the most part, if you can put them in the basement where it's a little bit cooler than the ground floor, you're probably okay. Most condiments, say keep refrigerated, they really just need to be kept from getting hot, from getting warm, and then you'll be all right. So.
Yeah, it's a good building block scenario to start planning for, because it's common. Everybody's been through at least 2 or 3, and you can kind of build your preps and your plans around getting some basic things set up for this scenario.
Yep, absolutely. And most people will find that if you're well prepared for a power outage, the bigger emergencies are less of an emergency because you can already deal with this stuff. Exactly.
Yeah. Speaking of emergencies, Bane Ironhand does point out one other time for the whole 911 call. It's margarita night, and his blender's off because the power's out. I think that's fair. Okay, so this is why you have a generator. I knew this would set you off. This is why we have a generator, and I agree with you. That's an essential service. It's a necessity of life. Margarita night is a very terrible night to have disrupted by power outages. It is. Don't call 911 for it. Don't call 911 for that. Every emergency service out there has a non-emergency number that you can call. So you can call your local fire department by their non-emergency line, and they will get to you when they're not busy, and then you can ask questions and get advice. You don't have to call 911, even though you might want to. Shout out to our dispatchers, by the way. Dispatchers do a great job, and without them, we'd be really bored. So we'd have nowhere to go. We'd have nowhere to go. So shout out to our dispatchers who really do take the brunt of society's. And I apologize to all the call takers who are going to get calls about margaritas now. Sorry. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to seize these for evidence. We'll return the container to you at some other point. Yeah. Yes. Yes. There we go. But, there we go. So yeah, we beat that one. But yeah, the whole idea of doing this episode was just back to basics. Something easy to prep for. It gets your kit kind of set up and ready to go, and you can build from there. And nothing wrong with going back to basics, because it, like Alan said, if you can get through a power outage, you can probably get through a lot of other emergencies that you're going to run into, whether it be bad weather, or you're snowed in or stuck in, but the power is still on, something like that. You're going to be able to get through that. You're going to be able to get through a lot of things. So
absolutely.
And with that, I think we'll move into the podcast challenge.
Your podcast challenge for this week is pre-plan what warrants a 911 call when the power goes out. Hint, it's not very much. No, your podcast challenge for the week, find one way that you can operate without the grid, without being able to plug into the grid, and let us know what that is. You can let us know what you did. Send us pictures on our Facebook, tag us in your YouTube videos, send us an email, feedback@prepperpodcast.ca, or however you would like to reach out to us. Maybe save it up for next week and talk and tell us about it when you come on the show.
Yeah,
and we'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week's episode. That's going to be.
I think that's going to be a great time.
Yeah, I hope it gets to the point that we have to cut it short, just because we've been chatting for so long.
I hope so too. I don't see how it's not going to be like that.
Yeah, I'm willing to stick around for as long as we have to. So
yep,
make it an all-nighter. Why not?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I've got a course next morning. It'll be fine.
Yeah, don't worry about that. It's not till the morning.
that's future.
That's morning Alan's problem.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got for upcoming events?
Fingers crossed, TACCOM 2020, which was delayed until April 23rd to 25th of this year. Fingers crossed that will still be happening. As of right now, it has not yet been rescheduled. I think we'll see what happens as we get closer, of course, because we were expecting the 2 weeks to reset, 2 weeks to flatten the curve a year ago. And
yep, it's true.
Bane and his
I do like
searching his hand crank blenders. I love it.
Bane, if you find a hand crank blender, please let us know.
We're gonna need a video of you making margaritas with it. And
actually, if you find one, get it prior to next week, and then come on the show and let us know how it works.
Yep, absolutely. I think the challenge has been extended.
Yep.
So TACCOM 2020, hopefully it'll be April 23rd to 25th of 2021. Shows the details for the show and the tickets and the link in the show notes.
Yep.
Maple Seed events are somehow still happening somewhere, some places. Maple Seed is a great way to get to know firearms, become a better shooter. There are all kinds of volunteer opportunities and great fun. Good times, excuse me. MapleSeedRifleman.com is the website for that. Yeah. And Ian put a YouTube link in there, which I really hope is just a. I didn't click the link because I'm on a public network, but
I'm afraid to click the link as well.
Apparently, it's a YouTube link, so hopefully that's what that is. But I imagine it's a link that tells a little bit more about what those Maple Seed events are.
I'm guessing that's what it is. I'll verify it before I publish the show notes. If you don't see me next week, you know it wasn't a good link.
Yep, there you go. And finally, again, fingers crossed, March 5th to 7th, the BC Sportsman Show. Again, link in the show notes. And that's one of the last events that we're aware of that's still happening. Has not yet been canceled or rescheduled. Again, it's early in the year, but that's a thing that's happening so far. And again, link in the show notes, bcsportsmanshow.ca.
I'm rather enjoying all the messages in the chat here. We've got gas-powered blender and a bicycle-powered blender. Freeze your hands to hold the drinks. That's brilliant, Scott. I like it.
Brilliant, Scott. That you design it, I will buy one.
Absolutely, me as well.
Because I'm burning calories and drinking tequila at the same time. I'm about that.
And then our 150th episode, we'll just have a margarita party.
Oh God,
I like it.
We're all gonna have to be in the same room and take the next day off.
Yep. next couple days. So one other upcoming event we've got coming up is the Radio Amateurs of Canada. They are still accepting registrations for their basic ham course, but they have posted that registration is ending soon. So if you're still interested in doing that course, make sure you head over there and sign up for it. It's going to be a good course. like I said before, I rather enjoyed their advanced course. The instructors are very well educated and very knowledgeable. So head over there and sign up. It's not expensive to do. It's $50 to register, and I think it's $50 for the textbooks. So you're $100 all in. So it's not terrible. So
that's awesome.
Check them out before they close up, because who knows when they're going to do the next one. So
absolutely.
We move into some shout outs.
I generally don't like enough people to shout them out. Today I will make that exception for Bane, Ken, and Scott in the live chat, because that's been entertaining for the last 15 minutes. I've been enjoying
fantastic. Yeah, I rather enjoy when the live chat is active like this. It's a lot of fun.
It sure is,
and it makes me hopeful for next week's live episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still picturing some kind of like riding lawnmower that has a blender PTO on it.
Ooh.
Yes. And if you could get on that for us, then I'd really appreciate it.
That would be good.
Yeah. Mow the lawn, make a margarita. Yeah,
that'd be good.
I think I'm okay with that. Little Magic Bullet margarita mixer.
I like it. So I've got a couple of shout outs. One to Paul, our newest Patreon at $2 a month. Appreciate that.
That's awesome.
And Ranch Outlaw, thanks for the email.
He's been a long-time listener for us, and it's great. We were discussing the email off of air. It's unfortunately a little bit too long and detailed to try and read and respond to the whole thing on the air, but excellent points, excellent details, and Ranch.
Yeah,
come on the show next week. Let's talk.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's get you out here. It'll be great.
It'll be awesome. So as far as iTunes reviews go, nothing new written there anyways. There's been a couple of 5 stars come in, but no for written emails.
Guys, tell us what you think.
Reviews. So yeah. Good
no news is good news, but let us know what's going on.
Exactly.
We love reading that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. And
validate their existence. Please help me.
With that, I'll bring episode 99 of the Canadian Prepper Podcast to an end. You can find the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Please help us out. Submit a review. It helps other people find us and gives us something to read at the section above the outro.
We do record these shows live on both Facebook and YouTube. If you want an early peek at the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Canadian Prepper Podcast, and click the notifications tab. Gives you an alert when we're going live. Facebook, I believe, does the same thing. Like, follow, and share. If you want to get me directly, you can find me at Alan, that's with one L, at prepperpodcast.ca.
Right, and please check out Rapid Survival at rapidsurvival.com. You can get me there on the live chat while you're buying some prepper gear. You can also email me at feedback@prepperpodcast.ca. So thanks for joining us.
You don't even get your name on the email address.
I use feedback. It gets confusing if throw a whole bunch of emails out there. So thanks for joining us this evening. Until next time, be prepared, stay safe,
and keep learning.